Now,
on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning routine. At 7:35, we'll talk to Dr. Kevin Roberts at Heritage Foundation. 8:15, Trevor Maddich on the Commander's collapse. And at 8:35, Brent Bozell, Media Research Center. My name is Larry O'Connor. Her name is Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie. Hey, remember this when Joe Biden was confronted by a reporter about his family making upwards to $20 million in foreign money by selling access to him when he was vice president? His answer?
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President.
Where's the money?
Oh,
I'm joking.
So brazen.
Well, apparently they found some of the money. Two little stories here that suggest that Joe Biden was a direct beneficiary of the crooked dealings. A $200,000 loan repayment from his brother, what they're calling a loan repayment, but there's no paperwork to support the idea that there ever was a loan in the first place. That money came just a day after James Biden, the brother, secured a contract with a failing healthcare company called AmeriCorps. And he sold access to his brother, of course. And then secondly, he bought his $2.75 million Rehoboth beach house in cash.
Oh, who doesn't have that cash laying around?
Just weeks after Hunter Biden sent a text to a Chinese businessman who has dealings with the corrupt Communist Party in Beijing, getting a multi-million-dollar deal, a $10 million deal, when Hunter Biden texted, "I'm sitting here with my father, and we want to know why we don't have the money yet." All right, Joe diGenova, come on. First of all, before you even say it, Joe, I know for a fact that they don't have to show that Joe Biden personally benefited financially from any of this stuff for him to be caught up in this corrupt, illegal scheme of selling access. That said, do you think, from your position as a former U.S. attorney, that this evidence now adds up to a very solid case?
Well, there's always been a very solid case based on all the available evidence, starting with Burisma and the firing of Victor Shokin. But this just adds to it. This is actually not very dramatic. It is important. It's additive. It puts on top of it. It's almost like a little cherry on top of the ice cream. But this case has been made a long time ago. There just isn't any doubt that the president has lied repeatedly. And the lying, by the way, is evidence itself. It's called consciousness of guilt. And in a criminal trial, lies told repeatedly by an individual or even once are admissible evidence to show a guilty mind. The fact that Joe Biden has a guilty mind is no longer in question. For normal people, and when I say normal people, I exclude from that description the mainstream media, the Washington Post, and the New York Times, because although they've made some glancing admissions about certain things, like the actual existence and the probity of the Hunter laptop, they have never crossed the Rubicon and warned the president that his corruption should prevent him from running again. Interestingly enough, any suggestion that the president shouldn't run is usually couched in terms of age and infirmity, when in fact, the real reason he shouldn't run is that he's corrupt, and he's really corrupt. And I must tell you, I was shocked the other day. I was accidentally watching Fox News, and in the course of doing that, I saw Brian Kilmeade interviewing Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. And in the course of doing that, Oliver North said, President Biden is compromised by the Chinese. And Brian Kilmeade cut him off and said, we don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. I can't figure out what's going on over there. I mean, those people must need a psychiatrist at Fox. Maybe 3 or 4 strengths per anchor. At any rate, you're absolutely right. The case is closed. Biden's a crook. And for anybody who doesn't believe that, you're just in the wrong mental zone.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, it seems to be that the Bidens have sort of a long history of saying any of these weird payments are loans. They've used that multiple that they've used that multiple times. And,
with no loan documents.
with none. And I mean, that alone, I worked up in the Senate for many years. I knew that senators I worked for were very nervous in making sure that their financial documents were in order. I mean, this is just bizarre that someone that has been in government this long in these senior positions, obviously very senior positions, seems to be so loosey-goosey with his financial records. Shouldn't that alone show that he is not in a good, he's not responsible enough to hold these senior positions?
The answer to your question is yes, but this, again, should be no surprise to anyone. Remember, Joe Biden and the Biden crime syndicate family have been using his official government positions, whether United States Senator, Vice President, almost President, as a way to raise money for the family. They have leveraged his public positions, his official government positions, for money, whether it be loans or contributions. And what have they produced in exchange for that? Nothing but the Biden brand, the Biden name, and in many instances, Biden action, such as the firing of Victor Shokin, which was directly against U.S. foreign policy, as reflected in coexistent memorandum stating how pleased people were with the work that Victor Shokin was doing. Look, Julie, there's no way to explain the inexplicable. What we have to do is just ignore the nonsense and keep saying it over and over again, and that is Joe Biden is a corrupt, crooked, compromised president of the United States. He's been compromised by more countries than lawsuits against Donald Trump.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, you just mentioned Burisma and Victor Shokin and all that, and there's already been an impeachment over Burisma. Sadly, it was an impeachment of Donald Trump, who was calling President Zelensky of Ukraine at the time to try to get more details about what they knew in Ukraine about Joe Biden's pressure to get rid of Victor Shokin, the prosecutor. Yes. I bring this up, Joe, because there's a new biography of Mitt Romney written by McKay Coppins, a pro-Romney sympathizer. Yeah, Mitt Romney. Well, there's an amazing revelation that was drawn out by the great Molly Hemingway over at The Federalist. There's an exchange here where he calls up in a private phone conversation with Sean Hannity because he was leaning toward voting guilty in the impeachment of Donald Trump. And he revealed to Sean Hannity that he had no idea of the details of the Burisma story. He voted on the impeachment. Right. He's a sitting U.S. senator, and he didn't know the basics of the Burisma scandal, Joe.
Well, as they say about Mitt, he always just wanted to be king of something. You name it, he wanted to be king of it. And Mitt Romney was a very sad, limp figure of a United States senator. He's not running again, not because he's old and infirm and wants to spend more time with himself in Utah. He's not running again because he can't be reelected, because he's been one of the worst United States senators in the history of the country. Yeah. It's hard to believe that. But, even though he can construct a compound sentence, they generally have no meaning because they have no substance. This story about him not knowing anything about Burisma actually shows the truth about him. He has one of the finest heads of hair in America, which he refused to joke about during his presidential run. But in fact, it's not his hair that's his problem. It's his head. It's filled with air and nothing else.
Thank you, Joe diGenova. Always good to talk to you, sir. Take care of yourself.
You bet.
By the way, also revealed in this book, I haven't read it, but I've read write-ups of the book. I will not give McKay Coppins